Welcome to the Sanctuary Podcast. Angel Deer is a medicine man and offers his work on sacred land through shamanic healing, energy healing, sound healing, breath work, plant medicine, and workshops and events. The Sanctuary is a community for all those who seek healing, transformation, ancient wisdom, and a place to come together to create a new way of living and relating. This is the Sanctuary Podcast, and this is Angel Deer.
Hello everyone, thank you for coming again for a new episode of the Sanctuary. And today we are celebrating the 1-year anniversary of the Sanctuary, so I'm very excited about it. It's been an interesting journey, and one of the themes that came a lot this past year from my own life and from the people I met is I'm not good enough. And it's something that I keep hearing around me these past months and from different people, and I was like, I should do a podcast about it. So here we are. That feeling of feeling not good enough started when we were very little, very often because our parents and people around us keep comparing us with others and keep telling us, well, you're not good at this and this person is better at that and you could be better at that. And so we put everyone around us in a relationship with us like it's a competition, like we are going to run the Olympics. And we forgot that we are, billions of us on the planet, and there's indeed people that are going to be better at us on every single thing we are doing. But life is not about that. It's not about getting better or the best in everything. It's getting our true voice out what we're here for. And very often when we think we're not good enough, I've realized that it's because we haven't fully found exactly what we're here for. Once we align ourselves with who we truly are, that notion of not being good enough somehow gets tamed and disappeared a little bit. Another thing is interesting with not feeling good enough is that because today we're in such high social media society where we see in details the life of others, at least the life they are broadcasting out there, we're comparing ourselves very often with a fake image of other people. So you see someone's Facebook timeline, or you see his resume on LinkedIn, and you see his Twitter or in his Instagram, and you say, well, that person seems to have an incredible life. He's happy and his relationship is amazing and his job is incredible and he has so many friends and he's in good health and, all of those things that we think out there. Truth is, that person first is probably not telling you everything. Like we all, starting by myself, go through moments of doubt, moments where we have to pause, moments where we are going through difficulties. And it's important to realize that this is part of life. And most people might not share a lot about it. And it's not because they're just sharing the good moments that they are just always in those good moments. They might have also moments where they're not feeling good enough. In fact, remember that all the people you're comparing yourself to might also compare themselves to others and might also think they are not good enough. Very often, and that I was reminded of that recently. I was working with a CEO on an Awaken Leadership program, and that CEO is very well achieved and has done a great career. But I realized that she didn't feel that she was good at what she was doing, and I would have never thought that when I saw her career, resume, and her life background. But in fact, once you dive a little bit in people's stories, especially people who are high achievers, those people very often feel that they are not good enough. And it's one of the reasons they're usually working so hard and are very good at what they're doing because they never feel that they've reached their best potential, that they can do something better. So remember, they also comparing themselves to others. Another element is that I want to share with you when you're thinking that you're not good enough is to remember that what's important is the journey. It's not really wherever we are going to reach a certain goal. That journey matters the most. And we're learning as we go. So we are never perfect. We're always growing. Either it is in knowledge or in wisdom or in understanding of others, understanding of life. I am puzzled sometimes by how my own shadows keeps coming back, but they come with a different angle because I continue doing the work. So that not feeling good enough is very often just a realization that I'm a work in progress and we need to be okay with it. We can't walk our way through feeling better by blaming ourselves more or feeling that we're never going to get there. The only way to also work with that not feeling good enough feelings is to be okay with who we are right now. And to do that, one of the many methods that is out there is to realize that this is just being human, that everybody around you has good and bad, has perfect things and very imperfect aspects. When I say perfect, in fact, there's what is perfection out there, but you might compare yourself with someone who really excel in that specific category of work, or as playing an instrument, or as a business person, or in his relationship. But this is just your reading through your brain. And that's another point I want to mention to you today. Our brain is wired to be the inner critic. That's how it's designed. There is no way to get out of it. Your brain, when it sees a situation, a person, an object, is immediately in need of categorizing it to know, is it good or bad? Is it okay or is it dangerous? Am I safe or is it unsafe? Can I come closer or shall I run away? And the brain does this mainly with past experiences and what it remembers, but also, some things that we have innate inside us. So we might be always, maybe careful from dangerous animals just because it's been somehow programmed in our brain for so long.
You're listening to the Sanctuary Podcast with Angel Deer. While you're listening, browse the website at www.thesanctuaryheal.com.
But when it comes to other people, when it comes to situations, very often the brain has a tendency to overprotect ourselves and to tell us this might be dangerous, this might not be good enough, this might be a situation where, I'm going to be ashamed or I'm going to fail and I'd rather not go into it. And that's why as a species, we are thriving so much on the planet because we are very good at preserving ourselves. We're very good, in fact, at adapting in new environment, but very often it comes with a lot of very careful approach to it. And some people might not be like that and take most of the risk, but at the great majority, most of us might be very careful and prudent. And the brain is wired that way. We have this reptilian brain in the back of our skull that really is here to protect us. And so remember that when you feel not good enough, it's almost by default a little bit like your software inside your brain, in fact, a little bit of your hardware, is just done that way. So we have to send compassion and love. And that's one other thing I want to share with you, that the only methods when we are in that state and we're feeling that we are not good enough, when we're seeing someone maybe that seems to achieve way more than us, is to take a pause, close our eyes and take a deep breath and just allow that feeling of not good enough in our body. Feel it. Don't think it. Feel what it is. Where is it? Is it in your chest? Is it in your belly? Does it feel like heat, like burning, like tinglish? Just observe it. That energy, if you don't bring your mind in, you're not trying to judge, you're not trying to change it, you're just observing the physical sensation. That energy is going to move around and very often to dissipate within a few minutes. If you engage your brain and you get into your story that I'm really not good enough, you're going to stuck and crystallize that story inside your body. And it's going to be very hard to get out of it by thinking your way out of it. Very often, and I've talked about that in a previous podcast, and it's one of the main tools I use in coaching when people are going through very overwhelming situations or emotions, is to completely shift how we are dealing with that energy. Once you go into your body and once you feel it, that energy is going to move around. If you contract your body and engage your mind, you're going to stuck and locked that energy somewhere inside your body. And every time the situation is going to come back, it's going to bring that sensation again, and it's going to grow and grow and grow. And you're going to go from a physical sensation to emotions, and then to mental states of believing that's just who I am. So, not good enough? Well, in fact, if you were to talk to the top CEO in the world, one of the first two things they say when we ask them about their success and how they feel about it, most of them, in fact, there is a big study about that, think that they are not good enough. The people that you are admiring, maybe some of those big leaders that might give incredible talks about self-motivation and positivity, when you truly know them, when you spend time in their emotional intimacy, they are sharing with the world around them at that moment, well, yes, I look like that, but in fact, I never felt that I was good enough. I always thought that I might be failing. I always thought maybe that I was a fraud and it was just a question of time before people were realizing it. So we live in a society that is wired that way. Turn on TV, read the newspaper, take a magazine. Everywhere we're telling you you're not good enough. You're not tall enough, you're not beautiful enough, you're not smart enough, you don't have enough money. We're in this society that is all about lack and fears. And I want to finish by that. The more we interact with that society through media, TV, newspaper, and other people that are thinking that way, the more we are bathing our body, our mind into that energy of lack, of fears. So it's a little bit like you were going out and it's raining all the time and you're receiving rain on you, and then you come back home and say, I don't understand why, but I'm very wet. Well, sometime you might not feel good enough and you might have all those fears just because you are going out in that rain of information, which is all about making you feel that you're not good enough. It's not something that you truly are. It's not something that in the depths of you is you. It's something you have been acquiring. It's like a layer on top of your skin. And so the good news is that there is methods through meditation, through daily practice, and you can look at my other podcast about that, through also journaling, where you can start looking really in depth with that feeling of not being good enough. So I invite you to dive in it. I invite you to realize the part that is not your own, that is due to others, but also to take accountability for all the times you're criticizing yourself and you're putting yourself down, because we also have to do our own work. So I hope this is encouraging you to look at it. Remember always that those people you're looking at and you think they are much better than you, they probably think the same thing. Maybe not about you, but maybe about you. In fact, they may be think you're doing much better than they are doing. So be kind, be gentle, be loving with yourself, do your daily practice. And if you have questions and want to dive more, please don't hesitate to reach out to me on my website or on my email, and you can find me directly online. Thank you so much. I hope you enjoy this podcast, and thank you again for this one full year at the Sanctuary, and we're very excited to celebrate our first anniversary today. And I tell you last thing, be sure that every night when you go to bed to practice gratefulness and look at all the things that are amazing in your life and write about it. And that's my last advice to you. And you will see that this feeling of not being good enough is going to fade little by little when you feed your brain right before going to bed with the most amazing thing that you can see in your life that are always ever present. Thank you.
You've been listening to the Sanctuary Podcast. Thank you so much for listening. Remember, we're a source of talks about spirituality, personal transformation, energy healing, shamanism, and earth-based practices. For more, visit thesanctuaryheal.com. On the website, you can find out about our events, our retreats, healing offering, our spiritual blog, and you can also register for the newsletter. Again, visit thesanctuaryheal.com. Till next time, this is the Sanctuary Podcast, and Angel Deer signing off.